Okay. Okay, we're live.
All right, thank you everyone for joining us. We're going to get started. We've got the minutes from our last meeting. Hopefully everyone's had a chance to take a look at them. We're February 2020. Woohoo! So tonight for our agenda, we're going to cover a bit of operational stuff that we normally do, a couple other things. We'll go to our quick updates, and then we've got some deeper dive stuff. We're going to talk about maybe some possible projects, changes in upcoming elections. So here are our minutes. Does anybody want to make a motion to approve these minutes?
Sure.
Okay, I hear that. We'll just go straight to a vote. Anyone opposed?
No.
No. All right, passed. All right, treasurer's report. Melissa, do you want to?
Sure. We've got a starting balance this past month at $16,123.79, ending at $14,255.35. You can see the income and expenses up there. Some of that income was a voided check from that third grade field trip where the company was closed, and some other income was our profit from Santa's Workshop, which was $256.63. The big bulk of the expenses was our payment for the holiday shop items, which was $2,253.69, and we had $418 in teacher grants this month. And none of this includes anything with pastries with parents yet.
Yeah, and so I'll cover what we've done with pastries with parents for that, and I've got a bunch of that for you, Melissa. We'll give it to you after the meeting. So that's it. Thank you, Melissa. Appreciate that. So, as some of you that might have been following on Facebook have known, last month we received a memo from the district. It was an updated memo from one that we received when we originally were founded October of 2018, November of 2018, whatever, during that time period. It had kind of reinforced the separation between the district and the PTOs, but it did add some new restrictions to us as well, as far as administrative staff involvement, specifically saying that no staff of the district can do basically any business with outside organizations, which is the PTOs or boosters, during during school hours. So that means we can't take meetings and whatnot. Because of that, I kind of started to look up a little bit towards the board policy and realized that the memo and the board policy do not match whatsoever.
They completely contradicted.
Yeah. So actually, the district policy says that they would do, while things should be separate, they would encourage staff to be involved, and actually
Board policy.
Yeah, board policy, sorry, says that, and that they would actually, every school would appoint a representative to be our point in contact for the schools and stuff, and obviously we don't have that either. So because of that, I met with the interim superintendent, Dr. John Correll, to discuss it. After discussing it with him, I went and I addressed the board. I posted that on our Facebook page if you haven't seen that as well. Follow up with that is that the board and district have formed a new policy committee that is going to meet for the first time on February 13th at 2 p.m. at the ASC. Board members, Crystal Miller-Penn, Angela Baronello, both our interim superintendents will be there, and Kathy Hogan. That's the board. I asked if they had considered having staff or other administration or parents involved with that, and was basically told no. But having talked this over with one of the board members, they said that the board members are representatives on there. So if anyone feels strongly about any of this, my suggestion is to reach out to either board member Penn or Baronello and express your concerns, whether that's email. If you look on their website, they have email addresses, or reach out to them in any other way, shape, or form. Let them know what your thoughts are on this and how it affects. I went and, if you hadn't seen it, I talked about how it's kind of killing us a little bit because obviously involvement is down. And it's really driven a wedge between us and the buildings. And part of this also, going back to the memo, is they're saying that now any flyers or anything like that, instead of getting approved at the building level, it has to be approved at the district level from everything. So, again, not having that building representative, everything's gotta go through there. It just all contradicts one another, and I don't know. On the positive side, I know that there's a new superintendent coming in, and when I was meeting with the other interim superintendent, District 117 put out a video about how great District 117 is, and the new superintendent for us was in there talking about how great boosters and how important boosters were to District 117. So I actually went to the meet and greet and asked the candidates about what they felt and how important the homeschool connection was, and boosters and PTOs and things like that were to the success of the district. And he was very favorable to that. So that's good, but he doesn't come till July. And I'm just worried that who knows what happens between now and July. So, but we can go back to this later, but I wanted to give you guys an update on my actions on this as our representative for the group.
Thanks for
So,
doing that.
that being said, before we get into the 1-minute updates, there's one other update that I didn't include in here. We also got a letter from the state of Illinois this month saying that our filing was late, which is odd because we submitted everything to Parent Booster USA, who submits our filings well in advance. They filed it late. So even though they confirmed that it was filed already, they didn't. But they accepted responsibility, and they said they're gonna try to petition to get the filing fee. They have our filing now, the state does, but they're saying we still owe $100 late filing fee. But they've said that if they don't get the state of Illinois to waive that filing fee, which they've been successful with in the past, they will pay it themselves. So we'll see how that goes. I just don't like that. That looks bad on us that we didn't have our stuff in order when we did. I also have it in writing that this will never ever happen again, but they said they had some organizational changes. We'll see, I don't know. So, but that's an update to the group on that. I'm on top of it, but you know, on top of it as I can be considering we didn't do it, so. All right, Pacers with Parents. So the last 2 days we've been having Pacers with Parents. Here's some basic numbers. We basically had about 125, 130 people each day. These are rough numbers. Some people that registered for Tuesday really came Wednesday. Some people that registered for Wednesday really came Tuesday. All good, no big deal. We actually had somebody come in late. That's fine. So we had roughly 253 people come through. I think there were a lot of happy faces. You know, one volunteer came up to me and said, you know, this is really great because you can see the smiles and the pride on the kids' faces sitting there with their parents or grandparents or whoever it was. So that's a really nice thing with that. Expenses, we spent $502.09. Ooh, 9 cents. But we brought in profits of $292.91.
It's actually more though because.
No, I've adjusted.
Oh, do you just okay?
I've adjusted everything to our final numbers.
Okay.
Unless Melissa tells me we're off, you know, when she goes and does the double count and whatever. But this should be very accurate. Now, as far as the profits go, we weren't really aiming for profit for this event, but at the same time, we kind of upped our cost a little this year because we weren't sure whether we were going to have to get shuttle buses or not again this year. So we wanted to include some of that in there. And if more people had decided to come, we needed more food or whatever it was. Those were things that we had kind of accounted for in our price. But I will say, as far as food goes, we really right-sized it. Almost all that food's gone.
Nice.
In the teacher's lounge. There's only just a little bit there. We were gonna take whatever was left at the end of the day that we moved. So any food that was left over from the event, we moved into the staff lounge. They took and they some of the food and they filled backpacks for students in need and sent it home with them. The rest of it I was put out for the staff, and then whatever was left I was going to take to the food pantry because it was kind of a lot, I thought, or a good amount. But when I came back later this afternoon, people were still eating it, and there wasn't that much. And I'm like, we'll just leave it at this point. So we'll leave it there, and then they can have it for the rest of the days that's out there. So that's out there. That's great. So thanks to all of our volunteers and petty staff and custodians who helped us with this. It was from all accounts, a successful event. Music concert raffles. No volunteers for the kindergarten one, so didn't do it. Our next opportunity is 3rd grade. My question though is, we just cancel doing this. Nobody wants to volunteer to do it. Maybe it's just not worth it. I guess maybe if we don't get any volunteers for the Thursday one, let's just call it for the rest of the year. You know what I mean? I don't know if anybody's.
I was gonna sign up for the 2nd grade concert, but,
Okay.
I mean, it's up to you guys.
Well, if you want to do it for this, we have the permit. It's easy to do. That's it. You know, I don't know.
I feel like we could probably try to promote this a little bit more, so maybe we can do that
Give it one more
now.
try.
I mean, like fall was so busy with everything else. I don't think we really pushed it like we could have.
Okay.
But
Well, can we mention maybe intrigue a volunteer that you get in the door early?
you do. You actually do.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You
Your
get in the
preferred
door
seat,
early,
yeah.
but nobody take the 2nd grade slot, because that's my slot. So you get in the door early so you can get that perfect seat.
Yeah.
Just hint, hint, hint to those 3rd grade parents out there and 1st graders.
Yeah.
So just throwing it out there.
All right. Cool. All right. Well, we'll continue on with it. We'll see what happens and go from there.
Yes.
So. All right. Scoopy night. So we got our next Scoopy night coming up Tuesday, March 10th. It's from 5 to 8 p.m. Still in need of volunteers. I think right now we have 1.
Yeah, we
So,
haven't.
Person's name
I did
right.
push out an email when I told staff that we had treats in there. I said, oh, and by the way, if you're interested in signing up for Scoopy Night still, here's this. So we'll see. I know Mrs. Turner, thank you very much. She put a QR code with a sheet in the staff lounge that's hanging up, but I haven't seen anyone sign up with that yet. My concern is though, if we don't get volunteers, we might have to cancel Scoopy Night.
I can't do 3 hours of that.
How many
I
volunteers?
was like, whoa.
We
What's
need,
the-
they request 4 per hour. And that's probably pretty accurate. So that's 12 total volunteers.
And we needed
Every single one of them.
every single one of them the last
Because
time.
when it gets busy like that, you
Yeah.
normally have like 1 person running outside and then at least 2 to 3 people inside running it. Yeah. I mean, it helps to have 2 people running orders, 1 person running outside, and then another person there just kind of like, because inevitably
Oh, yeah.
the order's messed up and can help coordinate with the people at the front desk. So 4 people per hour is really pretty recommended. We'll give it some time here, and you know, the goal is to get staff to do it because
There's way
kids
more
love
fun
to
than
see
us.
staff at these events. I mean, that's one of the big draws, is having them there. But we can always
We-
open it up to other volunteers.
We got some more signed up. Thank you guys. I
Okay.
see your comments. Thank you.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Thank you. We appreciate it. This is really a great event for us. I think the last one brought in almost $400.
Yeah, it
It was
was.
over.
Maybe can we
Yeah.
consider like feeding the teachers that volunteers?
Sure.
Yeah,
do that.
yeah, we
We'll
can-
hang up. Anybody that volunteers will buy dinner.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, teacher volunteers.
yeah. Teacher volunteer.
Teacher
Yeah.
volunteers will buy dinner.
We'll buy you guys dinner.
All right. So
Next week.
done.
Kids week.
Done.
Yeah, we're just-
All right. So that's Scoopy Night. I'm going to move on from there.
You know?
All right, and since some of you guys might not know this, we actually booked a fundraiser night for Action Territory. It's going to be Friday, April 10th, which is a day that there is no school.
It's Good Friday,
Something to do.
yeah.
It's a Friday night from 4 to 10 p.m. So it's a nice long event.
You can come anytime during that time. You don't have to
Yeah, you
stay
don't have
4
stay
to
the whole
10.
time or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
There's different packages. There is an indoor package for $6 a person. There's an unlimited indoor, which is like all the activities, for $10 a person. There is an outdoor activity package for $6 a person again. And then there's unlimited indoor and outdoor for $20 a person. And the outdoor part though is probably gonna be contingent on weather.
Yeah.
You know, that time
Yeah.
of year, you never know whether stuff will be open or not, but there's still plenty of things to do indoors, because there's like laser tag and bumper cars, and that's all indoors still. Plus you get like
A good
$5
deal.
game pass for it, like $5 of arcade games or whatever. It's a great deal. And the nice part is, for this, we get like 33 to 37% back of each one.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
Yeah, this was kind of a
It's
no-brainer to
great
try. Yeah.
Opportunity for us to try it and see and go out there. I know it's maybe a little bit further than some of our stuff, but it's not that far. So
Yeah.
I think it's something that's really fun. I'll run the flyers up the flagpole, but we're gonna start promoting it. I wanted to wait until we got past pastries before we started pushing this one out too much. But yeah, this one is coming up, so mark that on your calendars because I think it'll be a fun night.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, it'd be fun to shoot some people. I like to shoot my kids. It's kind of fun.
Laser tag.
Yeah, laser tag. Yeah, exactly. That's what I said, right? All right. Box tops, Christina, you want to give us a little update on that?
Yes. So when we kind of just that we had originally thought that the boosters was going to handle box tops when I had taken it over, but the way box tops works, it can only be through the school. So we're just going to continue running it. It'll just run through the school. So any funds that come in, you know, still either way. I mean, whether it comes from boosters or the school, is still, you know, I'm supporting the school, so it doesn't matter which direction it comes from. So I am still gonna run a contest. I did get the approval from Joanna, so she will be getting the flyer tomorrow. Thank you. To get approved, so we can get the flyer home, and then we'll run the contest. Still for the 4 weeks. It'll go past spring submission day, but it's fine because I can still submit even after that date. It just will count towards, the next one, which is totally fine because either way it doesn't matter. So look for the flyer coming home probably with, I would say by next week for sure.
Oh, cool.
So,
Great. Well, thank you for stepping up and doing that, whether it's under the guise of boosters or the school.
It's all
a
the
good
same.
thing
Yeah.
no matter what.
Yep.
So, cool. All right, Petty Strong, we still have that. Our current balance went up by $10 because we sold a shirt since our last meeting. So, and I just have that in cash. I'll just hold on to it in an envelope until we have something more substantial to go with it. But that's the Petty Strong update. If you want a shirt or a bracelet, we still have them. Contact us. Let us know. Go from there. Grant requests. This one's going to take us a little bit. We've received a few. Oh, and they just all popped up. All right. So let's go with the first one. Mrs. Ellis has asked us for $74 for literacy center materials. And what that is she's looking for a couple sets of magnetic letter sets and $30 for like the charts or that they go on that sit on the table that they can build words and whatever. Mrs. Ellis, I believe, is
First grade. Yeah.
So that's out there. Any thoughts on that one? Any objections to it?
No, not at all.
We'll approve that one. All right, Mrs. Jasinski also put in a request, this one came in today, for a set of headphones for her classroom. And I guess what has happened is a lot of the students some have lost their headphones, some of them have gone broken, and she's actually gone out of her own pocket and bought a bunch of sets of headphones, but that's not even covering it, so she was hoping to get more headphones that she could have the students check out if they needed to, and then return back to her and go from there. So she's asking for $74. I guess it's the magic number this month, $74 for the headphones for her classroom. Any questions, thoughts, or concerns on that? Any objections? None. Okay, we'll approve that one as well. All right, so I'm going to go back to the 5th grade team here in a minute. Well, let's go back. Let's go down to the bottom one to the 3rd grade team. Okay. Melissa talked about this a little bit. A couple months ago, we approved the 3rd grade team for $500 for their field trip. They were going to do a bus or a trolley tour, architecture tour of the city. But the company went out of business, and so they returned the check to us. So that came back to us. We previously had approved it for $500, paid it out, but the check came back. We basically just tore it up. It's done. Well, now they've arranged to get an architectural boat tour as a replacement. So they're actually going to go up the river, see the boat tour with all the architectural thing, and then go out onto the lake as well So it's both the river and
It's
the lake
awesome.
one.
I've
If
done-
you've
we've
ever
done
it,
that.
It's actually a really cool thing.
Yes.
If you like to do it, I think we were talking about doing it for your birthday.
Yeah,
This
I
year.
love
It's
it.
been a few years. But they're actually now asking for $200 to cover the deposit, but they're saying that they'll refund it once the kids pay. So, here's my thought on
Who's
it.
refunding it, the company
No,
or
the school.
school?
The school, I guess, would refund it back to us. I kind of say, we have already said $500. If they're asking for $200, let's just give them $200, and if that makes the trip cheaper for every student, I
Yeah.
say let's just do that.
I agree.
Does anybody disagree with that?
No, that's fine.
I just don't wanna pay this out and then you gotta pay it back, and it's,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah, that doesn't
You know what I
make
mean?
sense.
To me,
Yeah.
that doesn't make any sense. So, I will reach out to Mrs. Earl and let her know that we'll give the $200. If they wanna decrease the price of the trip for every student by that amount, fine, do it. So,
Sounds good.
all right, 5th grade team, speaking of field trips, they had asked us to help offset the cost of 3 field trips that they have. They're asking for $500. The cost per student, and this is where the math gets a little fuzzy here, and I'm not quite sure I have it all right, but that's close. The cost per student is somewhere around $20 to $23 a student.
No, 25 to 28.
Well, hold on.
Okay, sorry.
That's with the
So they're
$500.
looking, the 3 field trips they're looking for is Milwaukee County Zoo. Cost is like $12.25 a person. Theater production, they're going to see some kind of a play or something. I don't know the details of where that theater production is, but $8. And then they normally have a movie that they go to. And that was somewhere in the $5 to $7 per person. Now, here's where the math gets a little interesting, and I'm not sure where this comes up, because I've seen different figures, 20 to 22, and I've seen this. If you add these up, it gets to be about that $25 to $28 a person. Now, if they have 100 kids, which they had last year, I don't know what their count is for 5th grade right now, that reduces it by $5 per person. So that would bring it down to the $20 to $22, $23 a person there.
Maybe they're asking parents to pay.
Right, and here's the thing. Their concern is asking them to pay so much for field trips. That's too taxing on them. Now, also to this point, we've also set aside for the 5th grade $1,000 for the picnic. Now, when I brought that up, because the thought is, well, now are we giving 5th grade $1,500?
Yeah.
They said that they would rather take money and put it towards this than, because what we did last year for the 5th grade picnic was we bought the food and then we got t-shirts for everyone. They would rather not do t-shirts and put that money towards the field trip.
I could see that for that age group. I mean,
Maybe,
they'd rather have the experience than the shirt.
could be.
So, my suggestion, and Ray and I kind of talked about this, is to give 5th grade $1,000 flat, and they can use it for the $500 to offset the 3 field trips, since they feel that that's very important. And then, if they want to use the $500 for the picnic, they can be free to do that. But they're not. Yeah, they won't be able to get like the t-shirts and stuff like that. But they'll probably be able to cover food for that.
Food and maybe something else.
Yeah,
I don't know,
yeah.
whatever. But it depends on how they want to.
It depends on what they do this year too. Maybe they're gonna try and change something up. But
We were 5th grade parents last year, so we kind of.
yeah, and then right.
So, but I'm assuming they'll get other 5th grade parents, where we've heard nothing about it until
Yeah.
we brought it up this morning. When I brought this up to Mrs. Turner. What do people think about that?
It's a good alternative, because that is, well,
1,500 is, I feel like, too much for one grade because it's not fair.
If
Yeah.
we're not giving that
Yeah.
same amount to
Yeah.
everyone else or whatever.
I agree with $1,000, and they can decide what to do with the $1,000.
Yep.
Okay. I will reach out to Mrs. Turner and let her know, and we'll go with that. Melissa, by the way, when we
Yes.
get back to this one, I think they needed to get this deposit in sooner rather than later.
I
So
have the
if
checks,
we
so we
can
can
cut the
write it
check.
down.
I don't know who it's made out to necessarily. I don't know if we write it blank, or maybe if Mrs. Earl is watching this, can let us know who to make the check out to, that would be good. Or we'll figure it out, so.
Okay.
Yeah, any staff watching or from third grade, if you know
The name of the
the company that we can make the check out to for the third grade field trip, I'm having a feeling that it's Shoreline,
I think so too.
but there are multiple companies that do that. So just let us know because
And then
we've
we'll
got
get that check cut as soon
yeah
as
we'll get a
possible.
check cut for you and put in your mailbox. So
All right. So the last one was not truly a request, but Sandra Weimer had reached out to me and asked us if we had planned a book fair or had dates for a book fair for the spring, because they were hoping to schedule their literacy night during the spring book fair. And basically, I had responded and said, no, we had not planned a spring book fair, and I don't think we were planning on one unless we could get commitments to work together with the school in better coordination and whatnot, and we really hadn't heard any more on that topic, so we hadn't done it. So I'm bringing it back up once again. Do we want to try to be involved in a spring book fair? Because it's good for the school. And if so, if we're doing it, we need like 1 or 2 volunteers to step up and kind of be the leads on it. I'm not willing to step up and be the lead on this one because I'm still dealing with the last book fair.
Yeah.
And whoever wants to step up and do this, I say,
do not do Follett.
Scholastic.
No, yeah, do
Scholastic,
not do
don't
Follett.
Follett.
Yep.
I mean, we're still waiting for money back because I have to refund some money to some parents because their kid didn't get the toy that came with their book.
Scholastic it is.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I finally just got the last couple of books in.
Wow.
It's been ridiculous with Follett. That being said, I will help volunteer at the book fair. I will help support in some ways, but I can't step up to lead it. I'm burnt out on book fair. That's me. So I'm willing to help advise whatever it is, but
My suggestion was I think we need two people from staff, and 2 parents to really run a successful book fair.
and that's not that you have to be there all the time and do all the work. It's just we need those people to help be
In
like
charge.
in
Yeah.
charge of it.
Guys.
Point people.
Point people for it.
Yeah.
Is that something that we could do? Like the book fair is just that night? Of
Yeah,
release?
that's
It's
another
just
thing I think.
available during that time. If the teachers want to bring their kids during the day to just look at things, nothing's for sale, but they can look at it. I don't know.
Yeah.
That can be a very
I mean,
shorter
yeah,
term
because I think the
event.
challenge last time was
The
a
lane.
whole 4 days?
Well, okay, so
It was a lot of days.
Yeah.
the hard part were the date, honestly, the nights, yes, they were long for conferences and whatnot.
Mhm.
And while, that was it, part of it was the days. Like when you had kids coming to buy things during the day
Yeah.
and trying to get parents all day here at school.
Mhm.
That's the hard part. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, if we want to say we'll do this and we'll try to get this going, that's fine, and we can say, hey, we'll set the hours based off of what volunteers we get.
Right.
You know what I mean? And say doing that. Now, if we go to Scholastic and we book this, though, we can't tell them, well, really, we're just going to have this for one night because they're going to send us nothing. You know what I mean? We just do it the way that we do it, and that's the way it is. But I don't know.
Well, I think we need to reach out to staff and parents and see if there's anyone, that would head it up, and preferably people that have experience with Scholastic, because I wouldn't even know where to start.
I will send out, I'll do an email out to staff and parents that we have. in our-
Mrs. Turner offered to help.
Okay.
Thank you, Mrs. Turner.
No, it would be great. And listen, the reason that I'm even willing to go down this route is because it has done well for us. I mean, if we look at, we've got
Well,
credits yet
right.
from Follett that we did, and we bought a bunch of books for Battle of the Books
Mhm.
from this. Now, did they have everything that she wanted for Battle of the Books? No, we bought some stuff too. But we were able to use a bunch of those credits for it. So we still have other ones that we still need to use, and I need to reach out to people using those credits that we have from Ballot. But
Do they know when they want that literacy night to be, like what month, or they're just?
You know what, I saw Sandra just walk by.
You want me to
I
write
can
it
reach out to
forever?
her and see if they've actually set one or not, but we'll have to find out when can Scholastic schedule.
I feel like last year it was April.
April.
Yeah.
So I will reach back out to her, see if they've scheduled anything. We can start looking at trying to schedule dates for Scholastic, and then we'll see if we can get some volunteers going for it and see where it all kind of goes from. I will commit to trying to get the process started and getting it to hand off to someone. That sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Oh, all right, well,
Well, there it is.
congratulations, Dr. Walsh. That was very anticlimactic. But it was a very close race. Lisa Fisher, you were right there. Mrs. Rivera, you were right there. Mrs. Scher, you were right there. Mrs. Weimert, you were right there. There were a lot of people that were doing some nice things for us this month. So congratulations. We'll make sure you.
Thank you, guys.
So, all right. One of the other things that we had budgeted was an assembly. We're in February now. There's only so many months left to go. Last year we did game show gurus, and I'm just putting this up there to give us. I'm not saying this is what we need to do. If we still want to do an assembly, if we can do an assembly, don't know, because if we can't do booster stuff during school hours, we might not be able to do this. I don't know. Last year we had the game show gurus. Oops, that was a fun one. They did 2 assemblies, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Obviously we have more kids in the school. We might need to look at something different. We could have different age groups too. I don't know. Game
Yeah.
show gurus might not fly very well with
Kindergarten, first grade. Yeah.
But the cost for that was like $1,100 to do that. So we've budgeted money for this. We can look at doing this, but what I would suggest is we're looking for maybe another couple volunteers that are willing to research some options for an assembly and come back to us before this month, like in the next week or two, and say, here's some options, and then we can put it up on Facebook and go to a vote and or whatever and get some feedback and see if we can do one, when we can do one, and what the cost will be.
Do we know for sure from Joanna and Angelina if we can do one, or we haven't gotten that far yet?
Not since the memo came up. When we
Okay.
talked about doing one,
It was never an issue, yeah.
it was not an issue. It was just a matter of if you can schedule it on times that they're not doing it. We scheduled this one at the beginning of May, and the thought for us doing it this way and kind of being more the fun spirit one was it was right after testing. It was kind of a break, kind of a relief from testing, especially towards the end of the year. 5th graders especially had a ton of testing, and so this was kind of meant to be a break for them and other kids in school
Yep.
too. So that's kind of the way that we had thought about that. I still like the idea of it being more spirit than educational, and we've talked about that before. But that's up there if we want to do that. Other option with all of this is we just say, let the school figure out what they want to do. We cut them a check. They do whatever assembly they want to do. It's another option. If we want to do that, and we want to stay on that course with that assembly. So, but if we're going to do something, we need to start coming up with the options and do it now. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. So, any volunteers are interested in that, let us know, and I'll reach out and connect everybody together, and we'll do that. I'd like to connect everybody by early next week at the latest.
I do want to mention, I know PBIS is planning an assembly.
Okay.
They're in the midst of they've got a couple, I was just at the meeting on Monday.
Okay.
So, I mean, I can do it because I know kind of what they're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So I can kind of be on the opposite end of what they're thinking.
Okay.
I mean, I know they're just geared more towards PBIS,
Mhm.
but, I'll get in touch, I'll get in touch with Joanna and Angelina and double check first
Mm-hmm.
to make sure we can still move forward. And
Okay.
if they say yes, then I will start finding
Okay.
some options.
If they're
And
scheduling
I
and we
do
can
know
get
ones
a
that we've
time.
talked about last year. and there's other options besides these people. We just went with them because A, availability, B, cost, C, we thought it was something fun and interactive for everybody to try. So
Okay.
that was kind of the way we chose that. I don't think you were around last year when we did
No,
that.
those
So,
were off,
but there are other ones. We get things to our email. We get postcards from places doing.
So Caitlin Snuffer said she would look into it for us, and then Angelina said we would simply need to check out the calendar and merge with monthly themes, especially relating to spirit as a whole, school/grade levels.
Okay.
So I think
So
it,
sounds
yeah,
like it's a
yeah,
possibility. It just
Okay.
needs some coordination.
yep.
I got the invoice for the third grade field trip, so I know who to send it out to.
Okay, fantastic.
Thanks, Caitlin and Angelina.
All right.
Look at how productive we are this month. Fantastic. All right. So that's the assembly. If you're interested, I know Caitlin and Christina. I'll connect you guys if you guys don't have information still, and then you can kind of go from there. Great. All right. This is a new slide. I just wanted to call out some special thanks to people that have kind of gone above and beyond. This month, Lisa Fisher had donated 2 $25 Build-A-Bear gift cards for us to use for something. So we have those. Those are great. And this is actually a thank you that's a little overdue. Brian Plinsky and the D117 tennis team donated a certificate for $50 or 50% off. Sorry, not $50 off, 50% off a D117 summer tennis camp fee. So that's a whole summer camp that's half off. We have a certificate for that. I want to thank the Petty custodial staff for helping us out at our events, like we talked about with Pastry with Parents, and we had the holiday event and whatnot. So thanks for all of that. Thanks to Rachel Walshire and Michelle Cromba for lending us their games for Pastries with Parents. That was a big hit. A lot of people really enjoyed having those games, and it was pretty cool to see people having games. And I think there was even one kid that I remember saying, like, I don't know how to play Uno, and learned how to play Uno at Pastries with Parents. So that's kind of cool. But also thanks to all of our amazing volunteers out there. I've got a bunch of them listed here. I may have missed somebody on one of the slides. I apologize if
Missed
I did,
yourself.
but I think I've got.
He never likes to list himself.
I don't thank myself. I don't pat myself on the back. So, but thank you everyone for help, because without the help of people that were there, it wouldn't have happened. So thank you guys for that. All right, deep dive topics. So for the remainder of the year, this is a slide that we had last month. We talked about some of the income that we have coming in. I added Action Territory event. I've crossed off Pastry with Parents because it's not really remainder. We've done it. So expenses wise, assembly, 5th grade picnic, we talked about that. We're just gonna roll that off, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. School spirit, last year we did a little something for like Valentine's Day. I know we're not necessarily doing that this year, but I don't know if there's anything like that we want to do where like every kid gets a pencil and a little note or something like that. If there's something we want to do that addresses every kid in the school, it might be something nice to do. And then staff appreciation. We need to start thinking about that. I know it's May, but we need to
Comes
start
up really
thinking about
quick.
what we want to do and go from it. Some great lessons from this. I have the golden way to do coffee forever. Never call again and ask for a donation. It's super cheap. What we did for Pastries with Parents was fantastic, and I heard 0 complaints. We also have, when I put the leftover coffee and the hot chocolate out, hot chocolate was almost all gone when I came back later on today. So, and we have a lot left still. So we can make that rain for Staff Appreciation Week.
With coffee and cocoa bar.
Yeah. So, but what we did last year, we had somebody step up to kind of organize Staff Appreciation Week. I'd love to have that again, or if there's a couple people that want to do it. We kind of did a couple different things every day, or not a couple things every day, but we did something different like every day. I'd love to, if there was, not one person that wanted to take the whole week, well, maybe we have one person take a day. I want to, some thoughts on there. I want to make sure that we also, though, do some call outs maybe for bus drivers, which we kind of didn't do last year. It was kind of a last minute thing and we were already on our way, but maybe we should do something there. And maybe we do something, instead of saying, well, this is just for the bus drivers or whatever, maybe we do something that's for everybody, but we say, this is in honor of the bus drivers as well. We include them in it and whatever, but maybe if it's or if we're doing something to say, hey, this is great for our office staff. You know, we say, everybody's welcome to participate and have lunch, whatever, but today's lunch is in honor of the office staff, or whatever it is, and do things like that. That can kind of go for it. So maybe we can have breakfast one day, we can do lunch, you know, snacks, whatever it is. Sky's the limit. We have budget for it. I'd like to do that, but if there are people that would like to step up and do something for staff appreciation, I think that's still a really important one that we do.
How many days did we do last year?
We did a whole week.
We did the whole week except for one of the days. So really, we kind of, I think we did like 4 days because one day Joanna did lunch.
Yeah.
So that day we did, but we did
That's
a breakfast one day, a lunch one day, and I think the other days had like a little treat.
I think
Yeah,
one day was
cookie
like a
walk.
cookie walk.
Yeah, we did the cookie walk. I still have containers, so we can do that again. Like I still have the containers.
Stacy Dorman did it
Yes,
last year
she led
and
it
with you,
her
and she was
and-
awesome. You guys were awesome.
The other Melissa and I helped
Yeah.
her. 'Cause she
So,
had more
but
availability.
really, it's whatever we want to do. You know, there's no limits to it. I mean, yes, there's going to be some limits because of finances and
Yeah.
whatever, but we can be as creative as we want. We can do as many days as we want. You know, I'd love to make it.
Stacy said she'd help again.
Yay, Stacy!
Fantastic. I was hoping
I'll
so, because
help
she
her.
said she loved doing it. Yeah, we'll get you lots of help,
Yeah.
Stacy. We will.
Yeah, Ellen said she would help too, so
So,
it sounds like there's lots of interest.
Okay, that's great. We'll follow up with the people that say they're interested in helping with this, and we'll connect everybody together to do it. But I think we can make some really fun stuff out there and make it a week that the staff really.
Yeah, I'll help too. Maybe we can get a committee together and then
Yep.
Yep.
do a committee meeting and then.
And then they can break up and whatever and say, I'll take this or that, whatever.
Yeah.
That would be fantastic, because as we saw with like having all those volunteers with Pacers parents.
Oh my
I know there
gosh,
were
so-
there were
so great.
Some parents that were like, really, that's it?
That's
I
it.
said, yeah, really, that's it, because you know what, when everybody chips in,
Yeah.
it's so much easier.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's fantastic, and this year was so much better than last year.
Oh my gosh,
And
yeah.
Going back to Pacers parents, sorry for a minute, one thing that we did is we did the 2 days. Last
Yeah.
year we did the 1 day, and you know what? There was enough parking in there. We
Yeah.
didn't have to do the buses, there were actually spots left over.
Yeah.
So it
Good.
worked out well. We're getting better every year, which is good. which is
Learning.
good. And it wasn't horrible. I was thinking, oh my gosh, 2 days in a row is brutal. Yeah, it was a little brutal having to get up so darn
I was
early every
gonna-
day on those days.
5 a.m.
But you know what? I wasn't overwhelmed. Nothing was like, oh my
That's so
gosh, this
great.
is too hard. So
Yeah.
it worked.
We usually
out
get up
well.
at 5 a.m. anyway, so.
Yeah. 2 days in a row. So yeah, that's kind of a look at the remainder of the year. So that being said, one thing that kind of came up at the end of the last meeting is we're carrying a kind of a big balance, you know, and we are not for profit. So the idea is we don't want to always be sitting on a bunch of money if we can do some other things. So we have a large amount in our account. Do we want to consider a large project this year as a spend down? Doesn't have to be everything that we take it down, but do we want to do something a little bit bigger or go a little bit more and do something this year that brings our account down just a little bit and we do some smart spending? So with that, open the floor up to ideas.
Do we have, remind me, our bulletin, it's not, whatever you call it, right? It's, you
Letters.
put the thing up there. What about one of those? Like Augs has one. Oh,
Like that?
there you go.
She might be able to work. Yeah, that's amazing. No, that is an option out there. That's out there. These are just some things that I think I've heard people talk about, or we've talked about. So there's a couple ideas here. Playground equipment, always something that could be.
Yeah, that's been
Some
brought
that
up.
could be expensive, but maybe there's some things we could do with the playground. I've even seen some of like where they do some of the creative painting on the grounds or whatever to create
Yeah.
games or whatever spaces. Those are things we could look at. Another thing that was brought up last year was the staff retirement commemoration. In the past, they used to have, the teachers would pick painting or something and they would come up and they're all in a closet somewhere. We had talked about maybe doing like a tree where every retired staff gets like a leaf or something like that. We could go down that road again as a project and really pick that up. I know we've kicked that can around a little bit. Experiences. Do we want to do something where, an assembly where we go bigger, you know, and give the whole school some kind of an experience or something, you know, whether it's
Like an end of the year.
end of the
outdoor.
year festival,
Big
or
thing.
do we do a summer pool party where everybody from Petty is invited to come for free. You know, at Antioch Pool. You know, that's something that we could. What's that?
That's a little pool. I don't think.
It's a little pool.
I mean, I don't know that we would be able to.
I don't know.
If you get all, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. But these are ideas, options.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
School spirit stuff. What could we do? One of our big things is school spirit. Is there something else we could do to help do that would do more school spirit? You know, maybe it's the flaming hoop for the bobcat to jump through. No,
Oh my
I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding on that. We got to keep our
I'm
composure.
I'm sure Lisa would love that.
Yeah, exactly. I can see another district memo coming out about that.
Yeah.
No.
But is there something that we can do that people would get excited about and be something to kind of show off that petty pride?
Angelina said she loves all the ideas, especially an experience for all, and she said we'll chat.
Okay. Other ideas. So this goes to staff. This goes to anyone else. If you have ideas, if there's other ideas, let's talk about this and let's bring some ideas so we can talk about it at the March meeting. That's my suggestion.
Yeah.
Come with some ideas. Look it up. See what a cost would be, and let's consider it. You know, look up some of this stuff and let's see.
Well, I guess what would be, how much do we have there to?
Yeah, what are we talking here?
Yeah, because I mean,
I mean, are we talking like a couple thousand? Are we talking more than a couple thousand? Like ballpark window idea? What are we talking?
I would say
$5,000.
$5,000 or more.
I was thinking like 5 to 7.
It could be more. It could be more.
Okay.
Is that including an assembly?
Including doing the assembly?
Yeah.
You already budgeted for the assembly.
Okay. That's true.
I mean, I think if we go back and we look, now I know we haven't hit our projections on every single fundraising goal or whatever, but still, I think we were gonna carry over something like
Still over,
Close
by
to-
the end of the year, we'll still have plenty over.
$9,000
well
to
over
$10,000.
Well, and that's not even including action territory.
No.
Including action territory, not, I mean, some of the stuff is
Little
gonna make
stuff.
up for other things
Yeah.
that we haven't done or whatever. But I think there's some wiggle room, but if we start looking at projects, we can start getting a better idea and see if one stands out to us to be it. So I don't wanna put too much of a cap, but I would say somewhere in that 5 to 7 would be, if we're talking about a big project, I would say that would be worthwhile, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know, but you know, if something were to come in at 8, we might consider it, you know, depending on where we'd have to look at our finances and see. But when we did our budget, we have included, when we do our annual budget, we include 2 years of operating expenses
Yeah.
as a reserve. You know what I mean? So there's always room to kind of make up some of that and whatever. So just some thoughts. It's something fun to kick around, and I think could be cool. You know, if we find the right project, who knows? Maybe we come up with another fundraiser to help support it too. So, all right. So that's it. Any other questions, thoughts on that? All right, cool. So volunteers looking to, you know, let us know. All right, State of the Boosters, we talked about this. We've got some major challenges. One, limited number of volunteers. Now, we had more volunteers for Pacers and parents. That was good, but we still don't have a ton of involvement.
I don't know. This is the most we've ever had watching.
How many people do you
Is
have?
it?
Right.
That's
Right now
fantastic.
we have 13.
That'd be great.
But-
Prove us wrong.
Yeah.
Prove us wrong.
Yep.
Dwindling involvement, and what I mean with that is we just, you know, again,
Scatter around the room.
it's the executive board in the room right now. That's it. Oops. You know, the district policy limits that are put on there with the involvement with the buildings, it makes it harder and harder for us to do our job. You know, we're already facing some things. I know some people in here, burnout, and, you know, can we keep this going? These are things that I bring up because I wonder, can we keep it up? You know what I mean?
Especially when it's the same people, you know what I mean, over and over again, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, well, what's gonna happen when they leave, you
Mhm.
know? Like,
Well, that brings into the next topic.
Yeah.
But we'll get there. Is there something we can do to change things? I mean, talk about going to the, you know, superintendent and saying, can we get this worked out? Can we work with the district to resolve this and make things workable, because we believe in this. Does anybody else have any other thoughts? How do we try to increase involvement? What do we do to prove that, you know, hey, if some more people just chip in just a little bit extra, it becomes more manageable and people don't burn out? Because I get why people might not want to get involved if they feel like they have to do everything, you know?
Because they see the same people at all the events and they think, oh gosh, if I get into this, then I'm gonna have to do
I
everything
can't do that because then I'm gonna
all the
have to do
time.
everything. You know what I mean? So I'm looking for ideas, thoughts that we can do to try to help change that a little bit, because I do worry about, you know, what happens here, because, you know, for the last 2 years, my goal in all this was to build a strong base of the boosters to live on for a long time. And I'm just starting to worry because it seems like we're going in the wrong direction, you know, this year. So I don't know. I don't know if there's an answer there, but if anybody has some thoughts or ideas, I'd love to hear them.
Yes.
Because
Somebody said less events.
less events. Okay. And then it's brought up, what's the future of the group? You know, I don't know. I hope it's around for a long time, but there's some things out there. I don't know. So brings up something Christina came up, and I wanted to start planting the seed here. We got elections coming up in May, and I know May seems far off, but actually May is the elections. People need to nominate before May. So later this month, I'm going to set up a site like we did last year for people to nominate for it. All positions are up for election. We'll need a new president. At least one vice president cannot stay on as vice president. Need a new treasurer or a new secretary. Otherwise, people can't stay in those positions. A treasurer, one of our vice presidents, my position, we're done. We've done our 2-year term limit. So we'll need people for all of those positions. The way that I always saw it was, you know, part of it was the current board, people that we have here, even the people that are not around, will help transition the people over. You know, that's really the goal, is to get some new people in so we can transition and move things over and go from there, and the current board can kind of help support and go from there. So I'll post a nomination form later this month. One of the things that we instituted last year was you have to be present at that May meeting to be elected. If you know, maybe that's something we look at, but I kind of always looked at it as, well, you're not going to show up. You know, what's your commitment level going to be for it? But it is open to anyone that's part of the Petty community in 2020 and 2021. So that includes people that aren't here right now, but will be next year. So that's out there as well. So we're hoping to get some people that are interested in that. It's really a great group. It's a great school. So I hope people seriously consider it, and hopefully people.
Truly, I mean, when you're on the board, and I think when you're on the board, I think it's as much as you give to it.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be as little or as much. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be, you know, secretary position, I mean, it's you have to come to the meeting, take the minutes, just make sure they're submitted.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's not. I think sometimes people think that being on the board is going to be like, oh my God, I have to do all this and I have to do all that. I think they get us wrong in vision of things.
Mm-hmm.
It's truly, I think, you know, it's what you want to put into it.
Yeah.
Is really what it comes down
And
to.
what I would say to anyone that's thinking about it, if you have questions, come talk to one of us, any one of us, and we'll let you know what it's like.
If there's
what
anything we all are, it's honest.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I hope there are some people out there that maybe start to think about it and start to consider it. So, 'cause that'll be coming up quick. That being said, on the table over here, this doesn't help anybody that's not here.
Well, I
We
hear.
received a bunch of wonderful, nice thank you notes from not only Ms. Scher's class for some of the flexible seating, Dr. Walshire's class sent us a thank you note. We've received a bunch over time here, and I've just kind of put them out. We've been trying to post pictures of them on Facebook and whatnot, but they're nice to see.
And they always come at the right time.
They do. They do. It's wonderful stuff. They mean more than you could ever imagine. So thank you to anyone who's given us a thank you. So thank you for the thank you. But they're nice, and I thought people might like to see them. So, yep, it's exactly why we're here. Next meeting, Wednesday, March 4th. So we'll have one more meeting before our Scooby Night, which is our next big one. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll be reaching out to anyone who's interested in any of the things we talked about. Otherwise, please reach out to us if you have any other questions, thoughts, or concerns. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.